tennis on the sport, and the video review is available as well. So, as you know, you can challenge the calls like touch, not up, through, hindrance.
Yes.
I think I got it all. Questions from your side? No? Would you like to call it, Tallon? Heads? Tails?
Tails, please.
Tails is cool.
Sure.
Heads. Grigor?
Sure.
Sure.
This side. Yeah. Go ahead. Thank you.
Hello and welcome along to Stadium 17. We have third round action in the men's singles for you. And this is the third match of the day. It's a good one too. Fourth round is beckoning for one of them, either Tallon Griekspoor, the world number 40 from the Netherlands, or the world number 9 and number 9 seed here at Flushing Meadows this year, Grigor Dimitrov, former semi-finalist as well, but he hasn't been back in the second week here at Flushing Meadows since he made the semi-finals here in 2019. And this is what awaits the winner, either Andrei Rublev or Jiri Lehečka for the winner of this. And I'm the winner in the booth today. I'm Sue Thurl because I have Nico Pereira alongside me. How are you?
Now that I'm with you, I am doing great and looking forward to this one. The Renaissance man, we call Grigor Dimitrov, playing some wonderful tennis this past few months.
Well, I tell you what, he is a member of a very select group, one of just 9 players to make round 3 at all of the slams this year. Round 3 or better, that is. We will never know, will we, what might have happened if he hadn't picked up that injury at Wimbledon, that is for sure. This man is in round 3 here at Flushing Meadows for the very first time. His ranking has taken a little bit of a hit this year because he wasn't able to defend the points he won with the run to the final in Washington because he was playing in the Olympics. And he didn't quite defend his title in Sertogenbosch. But he's a hugely talented player. That serve is big, isn't it, that Tallon Griekspoor possesses, and the forehand is mighty too.
Yes, he is one of those players that nobody wants to see. He's not seeded with the ranking he has currently, but very steady off both wings, moves well, he's very strong at 28. He can play some great tennis against any style. Today he faces Dimitrov that has a very peculiar attacking style, so it will be interesting. There is a bit of a contrast. He does not come to the net as much as he could, and he talks about it, but that is just his habits. You know, he likes to stay in that baseline. Very steady player, Tallon Griekspoor.
And when he comes to the net, Nico, he's decent there as well, and he's got the power to punch holes to get up there, hasn't he?
He has very good hands at the net, and he's daring to come a little bit more, but as we mentioned, in front of him is a guy that it's a very accomplished player. Lost the plot a little bit in about 2 years ago, and then just rededicated himself to tennis, and he's just a tremendous asset to our sport.
He's had his fair share of injuries down the years, there's no doubt about that as well, has Grigor Dimitrov, but under 4 hours is all it's taken for him to make it here. Wins over Kyrian Jacquet of France, the qualifier, and Rinky Hijikata, both dismissed, as you can see, in straight sets. So he's in a very good place again, and he seems recovered, doesn't he, from the injury issue that laid him low at Wimbledon in the round of 16 when he wasn't able to get going really against Daniil Medvedev. Not surprising either that here on Stadium 17 there is a huge crowd to watch this one. Mariana Veljovic is going to be in charge of proceedings. It's been another very good year for Dimitrov, not the least of which was that first title for him, Nico, since 2017 at the ATP Tour Finals. Every time you see that stat, it doesn't ever cease to just jump off the page at you.
Yes, that was the year they played with those balls that nobody could control. It was a weird one when we see Jamie Delgado, who's co-coaching Dimitrov together with Danny Valverde, who's not here this week. But Grigor is just a guy that possesses so many weapons and is so athletic. He can play in all surfaces, but everybody, as you said, so sees that win, the best win of his career, and said, where did that come from and what happened after?
And the woman.
So we are all set. This is a good third round match. Well, they all are really at Flushing Meadows in the Grand Slams, but this is particularly good. And they've never met before, so that's going to be interesting to see how they feel the other out in the early stages.
You know, sometimes I'm amazed at the fact that players like this that have been in the circuit for so long haven't met, but it is the case today.
In terms of what he's done so far, here in New York, Sumit Nagal was dismissed in straight sets in round 1. Didn't have to spend much time on court in his second round match against Sebastian Baez. He took the first set and Baez retired with an injury at 2-love in the second. So that's been economical, his effort so far.
Yes, Baez was sick the whole night with some nausea and just in a very hot day just could not carry on.
Well, we have seen that, Nico, this week. The weather conditions, especially earlier in the week, were pretty brutal.
First set.
Not today. It's nice and breezy.
Grigor
It's not too
Dimitrov
hot.
to serve.
And they'll be grateful for that as they kick off at 4:10 local time.
Ready. Play. La 15. Let's for service.
More like it.
15-all.
Made a bit of a mess of his first forehand of the day, not his second. First strike. Exactly where he wants in the early stages.
Game.
Oh, that was much ado about nothing. Very, very nice start for Grigor Dimitrov.
Started the year really well with that title.
La 15. La 30.
Time to get going, he thought, in this service game. Where's this battle going to be won and lost today, would you say, Nico?
For Griekspoor, it depends on how well he serves, particularly percentage of first serves. So Dimitrov cannot play freely on his return games. And for Dimitrov, I think that as well. How could he get to a Griekspoor serve? Because Dimitrov, we know it's going to be steady, ranked inside, you know, the top 10. So I think these games are really important when the Dutch player is serving.
It's a nice little hold of serve there from Love 30. Slow start. Certainly woke up quickly.
Billie, a pretty good player on his own. Remember him playing not too long ago.
Griekspoor's the man who won 8 challenger titles, 5 of them in a row back in 2021. That's no mean feat, is it?
And that's how he pushed his way inside the bubble, as I call it.
Of that run, he won 26 matches in a row. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? Must have been operating on fumes by the end of that.
Raking in the points.
Definitely. And filling the trophy cabinet along the way.
30.
Finding it hard to get into his return rhythm at the moment, Griekspoor, not being allowed to by the quality of the Dimitrov serve. Starting to find it.
40-15.
Good start from both men. on serve. That's where we remain.
Dimitrov leads
3
2
games on the
1
board.
set.
2 of them belong to the world number 9.
Court, the far end of the grounds, and people really enjoy lively atmospheres out there.
It's also very close to the bars, isn't it, Nico? So you can stay very well lubricated or hydrated, as it were.
I tell you what, there is some people having those honeydews just for breakfast out there.
No.
I used to love the old grandstand and the Louis Armstrong, but that's just because those were the courts in my day.
Wasn't able to get enough purchase on that first volley. Punished for it.
15-30.
Again, Dimitrov threatening the Griekspoor serve.
A little disappointed with his effort there.
Yeah, sometimes he hits it too far in front. He has to go too far to reach that ball. Just let it come in a little more. That's when he hits it his best.
Peach of a return.
30-40.
He is the complete package. Great hands. Nails it right near the corner on the line.
He couldn't have placed that return any better, could he? Nicely, the invitation to exploit that forehand was a generous one. I wonder if he stayed up a bit later last night to watch Botic van der Zandschulp do what he did on Ash.
Hold. Advantage, Dimitrov.
I tell you, when something like that happens, a big surprise in the early rounds, it just opens the appetite for everybody out on the grounds, man and woman.
Game, Dimitrov.
Oh, a couple of errors just hand over the break from Juice. Double fault and a wayward forehand, and all of a sudden a 2-game gap opens up. He's only dropped 3 points behind his serve so far. That's one of the reasons why. usopen.org is the place to go to follow all the news about the US Open, the last slam of 2024. Video highlights and news and player reviews and everything. And follow on the social media platforms too. Don't forget to use the hashtag US Open.
15 love.
Grigor did a nice video for the ATP about the death of the single-handed backhand, Nico. And they had him and Gasquet and Wawrinka and Domi Thiem and Dan Evans, Chris Eubanks, all doing things two-handed because the single-handed had gone. Of course it hasn't, but it was fun.
I have to admit, I have not seen it, but love it. I'll check it out.
Is his.
Dimitrov leads 4 games to 1 first set.
Well, these two find themselves in the same quarter of the draw as Novak Djokovic. So he is potentially lurking further down the line. Ben Shelton and Francis Tiafoe also in their section of the draw. On court right now on Arthur Ashe, those two.
Let second service. Third Tallon.
Matching Dimitrov stride for stride in the aces column in the early stages. Trying to make up some lost ground here.
Game Griekspoor.
And does so. He's going to have to find a break from somewhere. That's the challenge for him now. Dimitrov just more effective behind the serve, especially behind the second serve, where the Bulgarian is bullying the man from the Netherlands at the moment.
Just note that Dimitrov is really good at switching up the serves, rarely repeats a direction. One of his better qualities with that shot.
Third Tallon.
those longer exchanges first, isn't he?
40
I don't
love.
think Griekspoor is feeling that comfortable out there, and that is because of the changes of spins and depth that Dimitrov has given him, and he's not served well. Doesn't give him a foothold.
Another beauty to finish off another rock solid hold of serve, and this is going too quickly for Griekspoor's liking, because Dimitrov is close to the finish line in set one after just 23 minutes. Oh, this is a must hold. Oh, we'll be galloping into the second set.
15 love.
The Tallon Griekspoor we've become used to in the last few years on the ATP Tour. That's a pretty lethal combination.
Way down
30-15
with the knees. Just take a look at his body position.
He makes it look easy. A little unlucky. He can use all the good fortune he can get his hands on at the moment. That ball stops stone dead. Well, he's done all he can.
Dimitrov leads.
It's not in his control anymore. Loves that combination, doesn't he, with the inside-out forehand on the first strike after the serve. Sets him up so nicely. Look at that, just 1 point. Drop behind the first serve.
love.
That's a rare gift.
Give the man a break.
I was just looking at his numbers, actually. They've been phenomenal at Flushing Meadows behind the first serve this year. Only dropped 5 points in the entire match behind his first serve in round 1.
40-15.
And 4 in round 2. Terrific return, gave him the hurry up. And those 2 set points have disappeared quickly.
Getting a little more aggressive. Thanks to Dimitrov missing the first serve, so that's huge. Good job by Dimitrov, staying aggressive.
Advantage Dimitrov.
More encouraging signs, though, for Griekspoor on return here, even if time is running out in set 1. Grigor Dimitrov in a hurry to get that first set under his belt, which he does for the loss of just 3 games.
Gentlemen, ready for play.
Well, he needs a little bit of early traction and scoreboard pressure here, you would think. And the serve has to lead the way for the Dutchman.
Talked about how he needs to put that first serve in, because if not, Dimitrov, especially with a set in his pocket now, will feel free to put more pressure on Griekspoor.
This is just what he was looking for. Very nice. Lost the argument pretty emphatically in the opening set,
First
but
game, second set.
that's just the beginning to set 2 that he needed really to lay down a marker. He's got to look at his second serve percentage of points won. It did pick up a little bit at the back end of the second set, but no way into these games at the moment on return. Being pushed around a little bit, isn't he?
That's what Dimitrov does to you. Takes the racket out of your hand with that first serve. He's lost only 1 point when he's made the first serve so far.
Oh, man.
7 for 12 with the second. But it's just explosive with both wings.
It's coming out of the center of the racket, isn't it?
Yep. It's not the biggest of rackets out there either. Old school at 33.
Well, that reply from Tallon Griekspoor was the return of a man who'd had enough. Absolutely smashed that forehand straight back at Dimitrov, but found a way to win it eventually in the forecourt. Well, he came into this match, Nico, did Tallon Griekspoor, 24 wins this year, 20 defeats, but 8 of those defeats had come against top 10 players. Because his ranking has slipped a little bit, you're going to bump into the top players in slams in the early rounds, aren't you, without that seeding to protect you?
Yeah, but he has that style of game that he will not lose to players ranked below him, but he's not going to surprise. I don't think his record against top players is that
good. No, he's got 2 top 10 wins.
I guess how many losses?
1 game more,
20.
Second set.
Ooh, there you go.
Those 2 wins, incidentally, came last year against Hubert Hurkacz in Rotterdam and Taylor Fritz in Washington on his way to the final there.
Those Olympics in Paris really disrupted a lot of people's calendars and rhythm. It's a luxury and an honor to play them, but players have to go out of their way. Something they're not used to.
It's the change of surface again as well, isn't it? That was normally you play the grass and then some players go to the Alps for the kind of clay court mini swing after Wimbledon, but most come to the hard courts of North America, not the clay of Paris. That's what they had to do. It's hard.
Let second service.
Well, it's much more robust on serve for Griekspoor. Start of the second set. Has to be. He's got some chasing to do here. Both these men serving up and around 130 miles an hour. Dimitrov has found 131 in the match, just in front of Griekspoor's 130.
Yes, it's very similar in terms of numbers, but the placement is the big difference. Dimitrov head and shoulders above Griekspoor when it comes to that shot.
I mean, he's just making it look so ridiculously easy behind that first serve. Because as you say, Nico, he's putting it where he wants it to go.
Well, that's why there's a saying, life is easier on a first serve.
'Cause he conjured that.
40-15.
Dimitrov does a good job getting there, and a good deep volley. It was just a fantastic shot by the Dutchman.
It's almost behind him when he hits that. He's finding it a little harder going all of a sudden behind his second serve. He won from 5 in this set. 44% for the match. Points won behind it. Fortunately, the first serve is delivering relentlessly. Just having a look at his cap, he can probably feel it too.
2 games all, second set.
Just a reminder, the US Open app's got everything you need on it. The website usopen.org and social media pages to follow the conversation with the hashtag US Open.
La 15. Let for service.
miss for Grigor.
15-all.
Two in a row.
30-15.
Yes, but that one had intent. The other one didn't. Take a look at the unforced errors. More aggressive player is going to have more errors. That's logical.
He'd like that back as well, I suspect.
30-all.
The Griekspoor body language has been off because he had a rough start. That's the first thing he needs to change.
Hasn't been a match of hugely long exchanges, has it? The serve has been dominant.
Just feel the courts are playing faster this year than a couple of years, the last couple of years, excuse me.
Yeah, it sure feels that way. Nice close. Important to just maintain this scoreboard pressure, and he is doing that. Lead remains with him, heading towards the midway point of set 2. Not quite the fluidity from Grigor that we saw for the first set and maybe 3 games, is it?
It's very tough to maintain that, and that's why the greats are the greats and the goods are the goods. Saw 3 backhands missed in the last, 6 points by Dimitrov? Not something you see too often.
But what he can lean into is that.
15-all.
Still only dropped 1 point behind his first serve. Fabulous forehand yet again.
30-15. 30-15.
It's been dominant so far. This Flushing Meadows run in the shorter rally lengths.
Game.
Just like that. Well, no rally to speak of there, really.
3 games all.
7 aces already on his scoreboard. And nothing between them midway point of the second set.
Crowds this week have just been out of the normal, ridiculous. It's full everywhere you go.
Oh, we're on course for 1 million, aren't we, through the gates for the 3 weeks?
Even if the 2 big stadiums are full of people, the grounds are covered with more people.
15 love.
Tennis alive and healthy.
Oh, definitely.
It's a beautiful thing.
Lovely imagination from Griekspoor.
30 love.
Dutch fans here in numbers too.
$30-15.
He's closing that gap. There's no doubt about that, Griekspoor. Dominant was Dimitrov in rounds 1 and 2 in that category. Ooh, that might just be a little bit expensive.
30-all.
Ball kept low, though, in fairness, Nico, didn't it?
It was a tricky shot to try from that angle, correct.
$40-13.
Well, what's so good about what Dimitrov is doing is he's varying the length of his ball, isn't he, to Griekspoor to make it uncomfortable. No rhythm in the rally for him, although that was mighty close to nibbling the back of the line.
Advantage, Dimitrov.
Here we go then. First chance of the set.
Game, Dimitrov.
Well, I'm not surprised. He's disgusted with himself.
New balls, please.
And that's the end of that racket.
Dimitrov leads 4 games to 3, second sets. And by 1 set to love.
Understandably disappointed.
Salt being applied to the wound.
15 love.
Oh, that's a nice memento. Not sure what you do with that. What do you do? Hang it on a wall or something?
If you're a Griekspoor fan, for sure.
Well, the errors have come at the worst possible time.
Let's for service.
And he's not holding back. Creeping ever closer. So double figures for the aces, up to 8 now.
Game, Dimitrov.
Well, he's got to try and find a way of just composing himself here, Tallon Griekspoor, because he desperately needs this next service hold, or we'll be heading into the third set.
Games to 3, second set.
With just over an hour gone.
Smooth sailing for Grigor. He's played really well. A couple of hiccups there off the backhand, but steady still with the first serve, winning 26 of 27 points. That's a big plus when you can anchor your game like that, and you had the early break in the first set and then the other break in the middle of the second.
How good was that return? On the stretch from Dimitrov.
30-15.
The frustration, I think, for Griekspoor will be these errors have just crept in when he was really shoulder to shoulder with his opponent.
Griekspoor was one of those guys that was an outstanding junior and had to wait until he was 25 to crack the top 100, so he really paid his dues. He's been a mainstay in the top 100 since. Tricks now.
I mean, that just oozes class. Griekspoor did not move a muscle because he did not see it coming.
Well, first drop shot of the match at a critical time. Genius stuff from Grigor.
What a way to end the second set. And stake a big claim now for a place in round 4. Dimitrov in charge on Stadium 17.
Dimitrov leads by 2 sets to 1.
He's had a lot of joy with that forehand inside in down the line, hasn't he?
15 love.
He's had a joy with the forehand everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
He throws it. It's been fantastic. He's hit winners from all angles, to all angles.
Love. Out 40 love. Game, Dimitrov.
Just cannot get going on return at all.
First game,
quality coming at him from that Dimitrov racket is just too good and too consistent.
Well, there is another factor. Griekspoor is a player that loves rhythm precisely. He likes to hit from the back, he likes patterns, he likes long points. Dimitrov is completely the opposite, and he's just having his way. We looked at the amount of rallies over 4 balls, and it's what?
15-all.
Knew exactly where Griekspoor was going to go. The percentage play was to go cross court. And guess who was there with the backhand?
his best friend.
Got his angles all wrong there. That's a rare aberration.
Game, Griekspoor.
Oh, a sigh of relief at the Dutch end of the court. Something to build on. But needs so much more right now.
Well, when players are down 2 sets to love, they relaxed a little bit. That's why you see it in so many occasions that the 4-set match is first 2 sets to one player, then another one wins a set, and goodbye, Genie. You know, it's something you see often. And see if Griekspoor can relax enough to keep up with his opponent.
He's going to need a drop-off in the level of, well, everything from Dimitrov, especially the first serve. It's been impenetrable.
That's the challenge for the number 9 seed.
Fitino.
Looking at his coach, Christoph Liegen, as if to say nothing is going my way today.
Game, Dimitrov.
How good is that second serve? Griekspoor just didn't pick it.
1/3 set, and by
once again, he's chasing shadows on Stadium 17. Well, the scoreboard pressure is mighty. Trailing by 2 sets to love and serving second in the set.
Love. All.
27 unforced errors in the match now. And it's difficult for him, Nico, but he's got to try and maintain some positive body language, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been bad since the start because he was struggling with that serve, felt under pressure throughout this one, up to this point. The issue is that body language is probably the only thing you can control when things are not going good, because your opponent's playing well, you can't do anything about that. You're not playing too good, so first thing you have to do is start thinking positively, and then your game might turn around. Easier said than done. This is one of the best matches I've seen Grigor play. He's so in control, playing with margins. Everything makes sense. He played like that in Miami when we commented at the start of this match.
Yeah.
To beat those great players and get to the finals, losing to Sinner because he was tired. But he's just playing some tremendous ball this year.
Well, he took the risk there to hit that forehand inside in, exposed a lot of court, and Dimitrov helped himself. Oh, there is the break. And of course it's in a beautiful fashion from Dimitrov.
And when we were saying that everything works his way, just take a look at this. This shot coming up, very difficult. And this one, well, not for him, but for the mortals, it's pretty impressive.
Well, not quite home and hosed, but very close. usopen.org, website address for all news US Open related. And you can use the social media platforms to get in touch with the hashtag US Open. I dare say a few people will be talking about this man at the moment with this performance. Jamie Delgado's happy. That's all that matters.
15-all.
So often in this match when there's been a little sliding doors moment, Dimitrov has absolutely nailed the serve that's followed to make sure it doesn't go sideways in the slightest. Body serve just adding to the mix.
Let for service.
Nailed that one. Found a bit more pace on it, didn't he? And a bit more depth, and that's what you need if you're going to take that risk.
Totally. Dimitrov is not giving him much. Only 16 unforced errors from Grigor. He's giving a clinic out there today. Griekspoor has to find his own path.
Game.
Well, even when he comes up with something brilliant, guess who's waiting to top it? Ace number 11. A very impressive set, and 5 games, 2 sets even, excuse me, in 5 games from Dimitrov. This has been one of those days for Tallon Griekspoor, Nico, where you don't feel like rushing straight to the practice court. You feel like getting in the hospitality car and going to the bar.
When I played and had one of these days, I buried my nose in a book.
Did you?
Do not think about it. That was my solution.
It's so difficult when the momentum is against you, as it has been almost from the get-go here. Combined with some sublime serving from his opponent. Oh, you're kidding. I mean, 30-all. Even that has to end like this for Tallon Griekspoor.
Hey.
See? Get in the car, go to the bar.
I don't know. That also could end up badly.
It's true.
Just lock yourself in a room. Wait for tomorrow.
40.
Well, he's got to find a way back from here. Surely there's no way back from a double break at this stage of the set. The end is nigh, you suspect, for Tallon Griekspoor's US Open adventure this year.
Dimitrov leads 5-1, third set.
Because he now is staring down the double break in this third set. And he's facing a man who's only dropped 2 points behind his first serve all match. I would say the odds are fairly stacked against. Still, never say never. This is a strange sport. Strange things can happen.
For service. Line 15.
Oh, he got hold of that return.
Love 13.
Well, if he's going down here, he's going to go down swinging. That's the mentality.
$15-30.
Well, that felt like a rebuke from winning the first 2 points on return in this game. That was a performance that just oozed class from Grigor Dimitrov, who's back in round 4 at Flushing Meadows for the first time in 4 years. Thoroughly dominant today against Tallon Griekspoor, who could not deal with the quality behind the Dimitrov serve and plenty else besides. That was stunning and just all class in 1 hour and 39 minutes from the world number 9.
Total domination for Dimitrov. I would not be surprised if this was the fastest men's match this year at 1 hour and 39 minutes out on Stadium Court 17. Surely a disappointment for this man. Third round of a major for him. it's still a pretty good result, something to build on. But Grigor Dimitrov, the number 9 seed, just a masterclass out here. And you can see how pleased he is with himself, nodding his head. And why shouldn't you, young man? At 33, it's still a lot of tennis left in those hands.
Well, only 3 points Nico dropped behind his first serve. Didn't offer a single break point in those 3 sets in an hour and 39, as you say. And totally in control today.
Final look at the numbers. Just tremendous dominance. Winning 92% of the first serves that he made. That is just a tremendous number. That's 35 out of 38 points. Just total dominance. Except for that last game, out of love 30, he had 1 deuce game, but no dropped service games. The winners well above the unforced errors. Totally opposite to his opponent that was just overplayed. And impressive win for Dimitrov that meets Rublev in the last 16s for a spot in the quarterfinals. That should be a doozy.
It sure will. And this is a section of the draw, don't forget, that includes Novak Djokovic. So that's further down the line. It's Rublev next. Next up on Stadium 17, it's Brendan Nakashima and Lorenzo Musetti. Nico, it's been a pleasure and a joy. Thank you.
The pleasure was all mine.
Game Dimitrov. New balls, please.